You're in the
Um,
forest and you've got a hunting knife. There you go.
Hmm.
okay, all right. And how far is he from you?
He's 100 yards coming in
100 yards.
fast.
Welcome to the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast. Welcome to it. This is another episode of the Wilderness Wavelength Podcast. My name is George, and man, we're getting into it this episode. We are talking zombie apocalypse and the end of the world, possibly. This is a new direction for Wilderness Wave on this episode, but we'll see how it goes. Joining us, Scott Sunderwald. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Hey, good to be back.
Jamie Merkel on the show with us tonight, too.
Always glad to be here.
Jamie,
Thanks for inviting me.
of course, man. Yeah, always good to chat with Jamie. Jamie's out in BC. Jamie, I feel like the last time you were on, or maybe not the last time, but earlier on when we started the podcast, we did like a survival quiz or something. How long would you survive in the bush? And did you get 6 weeks, maybe? Maybe
I
six
got
weeks?
longer than you did. That's all
Well,
I
yeah,
remember.
barely.
I,
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
I remember you were barely surviving, and
Yeah,
I built a metropolis or something.
right.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
The reason I wanted to talk about this concept on this episode is I've been reading a couple like zombie books lately, and I was just thinking about like I'm halfway through World War Z right now, which is like a pretty crazy one. They got the movie based around and everything too, and then there I just finished a book called Parable of the Sower, which is like kind of an end of the world thing, and it's based in 2025. Like this book was written, I don't know, back in the 90s or something, but the story's based in 2025, and it's like the whole world is not zombified, but there's like a drug people are taking that makes them really love fire, so they're burning like the world, and there's groups of people trying to survive. So I thought it'd be an interesting concept and thing to get into. So maybe we'll start off. We can start off with this. The podcast question of the week this week was how many days of food and water are you prepped for? So like for you guys, how many days of food and water you ready? Are you like if things went south tomorrow, what do you got stocked up?
I'll let Scott take this one because
Yeah,
my answer is going to be short.
well, yeah, it's interesting, right? The old adage or the old motto with survival is the more you know, the less you need to carry. So back in on the bush, I've got theoretically endless food out the back door if you
Hmm.
know how to get it. But having said that, in the house, I have a freezer right now with an elk. We shot 8 deer. Some of
Hmm.
that got farmed out to the kids. So man, we're sitting on a lot of meat. Um, but yeah, we got cans of beans and this and that. I'm not a prepper, but I think we do well for a while chowing down on all that meat. Now, if the electricity went out and that
Hmm.
freezer started thawing, well, it's winter, so it's a good time. But I would have to my uh, get a smoker going,
Hmm.
make a ton of jerky and dry it out, and make it last for months and months.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
think
I'm
that
not too bad. I got
yeah.
we got fish in the lakes, man. We got rabbits running around. There's always something to eat.
What do you got stocked up, Jamie?
I think I got like a can of tuna and some craft dinner in there. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, the 5 minute rice.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as water goes, like we got fresh water around here. They're
Hmm.
really nice with Kootenai Lake and stuff, and it's like really cold, really nice water.
Hmm.
I brought some back for Johnny one time. Johnny Kozichenko, was he on
Yeah.
the podcast?
Yeah, he's been on a few times. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought some back for him sometimes. And he drank it down. I don't know how safe that is, but he did it and it
Yeah.
tasted good. So
That's
yeah.
perfect. I mean, that is the thing. Like, so, I mean, for us on the podcast here, like we were living in close to nature, like living in Hinton in the Northern Rockies, where we have access to lakes and rivers and stuff pretty accessible, which is, I
Hmm.
mean, different than if you're living in the city. We got a few responses came in too. So Nicole said she's maybe got 7 hours of food, so that's not much. Cal said 2 weeks, and he's got a generator stock too. So I mean, a generator
Oh,
it opens up a few things, like Scott was saying. If there's no power, um, a generator possibly could help you out with that. Um, Dominique said about 7 days stocked up. So they say that like if you're prepping, at least on the internet research I've done in this week here, 7 days is kind of like a pretty good base. Like have several days of food supplied, water, 1 gallon per day per person for 7 days, and that's for drinking and sanitation. There's actually a basic disaster supplies kit. So they say the water, the food, and then a battery powered or like hand crank radio, flashlight, first aid kit, batteries, a whistle, rancher pliers, can opener, some maps, and a cell phone with chargers and backup power. So, I mean, that's just a few things you could have stocked up. I'm assuming, Scott, like besides food, you have like do you have an emergency bag or anything set up ready to go? Anything like that?
Yeah, well, I'm always in the back country, right? So it would take me probably an hour just to throw a backpack together and head out in the bush with tent, sleeping bag, water purification tablets, pots, all that good stuff. Um, but yeah, I've looked into it. I think when COVID hit, right, everyone started thinking, oh boy, like the shelves are getting pulled away of
Yeah.
toilet paper and granola bars. It was crazy how quickly everything was laid bare. It really showed me what a house of cards civilization is when disaster hits, and it wasn't really the Black Plague or anything, but it was bad enough. So it did get me thinking. We probably should store more salt. Salt is a big one for long-term survival. Without salt, you actually dehydrate, and you need to actually drink the blood of animals. I know it sounds crazy, but
Hmm.
um, we need salt to survive. Dried rice would be another good one, like to have just a bucket of dried rice, a big 5 gallon pail, um, dried beans, flour, things where bugs can't get into it, but stuff that could last for years. Maybe not a bad idea, right? I'm not a prepper, but you can kind of see it's a bit of an insurance policy, right?
Yeah. I was at a buddy's place over the weekend in Edmonton there, and he's um I I don't know if he probably doesn't want to be known as a prepper, but I think he is a prepper now. And just this summer, he got a wood stove installed in his house because he's like, I'm gonna have that as a backup plan, if power ever goes out or anything like that. And then he's got a full room store. He makes his own beer, so he's got a full room stored with beer, just in case. And he's got a pretty good selection of food going there now too. So yeah,
Well, that's all you really need for like the end of days, just a cellar full of beer and you're good.
yeah,
Yeah,
sit
yeah.
back and
I've wondered how long could you survive on just beer? There's liquid and there's some vitamin B and
yeah,
barley. Yeah.
yeah,
But do you guys remember the ice storm? That was many years ago. I think it was Quebec it hit
yeah.
and in the middle of winter. And that got a lot of people thinking, like if the power went out and you didn't have a fireplace or a wood stove, you could be in big trouble or a generator. We have two fireplaces in my house, upstairs and downstairs, but they're not very heat effective, like they're not airtight.
Hmm.
So you just have to feed a ton of wood. But we do back on the forest, so we just be we just be hauling wood all day.
They're not airtight. You mean the door and where it's going out to like open air atmosphere? It's not.
Right, right. So if you think of a good wood stove, it's got a an airtight gasket and that door seals, and you actually see the flames slow down. They almost look like they're in slow-mo. And you can stock that fireplace and it'll burn for 6 hours on a full box on an airtight, which is super effective. With I do have glass doors, but they're not airtight,
Mm,
so it's almost like burning. It's a little more efficient than what a fire pit would be when you're camping, but not a heck of a lot more efficient than that. And you could make it airtight, but then I'd be worried that the chimney and the whole box isn't made for that degree of heat, right? So you might end up with a big chimney fire or something.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. How often do you clean your stove?
Um, I do once a year, but because it's we can't really damper it down. It burns pretty clean. Like I only get a little bit of creosote flakes in there. nothing
Yeah.
too serious. And I do have hot tent stoves. I mean, if I have to, I can throw them in the sled and head into the forest, right?
No, totally. Yeah, yeah. Well, when I was working for or volunteering for the fire department out here, that was a big thing during the winter. That there would be tons of chimney fires and wood stove fires and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was primarily because people don't clean them very often. So, um,
Yeah.
or clean them properly, which might be another thing too.
Yeah, what do they recommend for cleaning properly? Just throw a creosote log in there, or are you like going up there with the sweep and everything?
Yeah, you should definitely sweep it at least once every, I think it's 2 years if I remember
Mm.
correctly, at least. And then yeah, just the creosote log is a good way, is a good deterrent or way to keep it fresh,
So
and keep those levels down.
yeah, the one
Hmm.
thing about a wood stove does not keep zombies away.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
I don't know if like I've been doing a little more zombie research this week now too, just preparing for this podcast. The first recorded reference to the word zombie appeared in 1819, and there was a poet, Robert Souther. He used it in the history of Brazil. He was writing about that and kind of related it to like some African languages, but they say it was kind of started the concept, at least, of like a reanimated corpse was deeply rooted in some Haitian voodoo traditions. And that's kind of where everything started there. And then it got more popular later on. Like there was some movies that came out in like 1932 called White Zombie that came out. And then 1968, Night of the Living Dead was like the big zombie movie. And then everything seemed to kind of like skyrocket from there. Like I'm just going through like zombie movies, and it's like after that movie, it's just the world of zombies kind of took over. Any idea why that that theory is so prevalent? Like why are people believing that this is going to happen in the future?
Or like what's the fascination with zombies?
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't,
it
yeah, it's
seems like
hard
there's always
to.
not a new zombie movie coming out.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm just gonna shoot it down. I'm not a huge fan of zombies, but I see people, they just like, they're attracted by them or something. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. Is it just like the fact that you can come back from death? It's like they're escaping death in some way, or um,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, Jamie. Like, I know next to nothing about zombies. I had to Google a bunch of stuff before the podcast here just so I could halfway talk intelligently about them. I think they're more symbolic to real world apocalyptic type things. Like if you think of plagues or rabies or parasites or things that could infect humans and kind of spread. So maybe it's something in our ancient psyche of things that have wiped out tribes and civilizations in the past, and we're just kind of wired to be like, oh my goodness, what if something hits the city and just goes through like a wave, right? And I think we felt it a bit with COVID. I think COVID was a precursor to something far more serious that could come
Mm.
down the chute. We've talked about Ebola or the Black Plague, and there are way scarier things than the coronavirus out there that could hit populations. And that's not sci-fi, that's just realistic. I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime, but I'm sure it's going to happen and really hit the populations with something pretty fast and fierce. And I think the zombie culture kind of harkens to that same archetypal idea, right?
We're gonna do a quiz where we'll figure out how long you guys or how you would survive a zombie apocalypse. This quiz too, I found it on BuzzFeed. I was just kind of searching up some quizzes this week, and this is like an AI generated quiz. So the first time we've used AI on the podcast, which, to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous about. I don't know what I'm getting into now. But so there's 8 questions. Jamie and Scott, you guys will both answer them. I'll have 2 screens going here. I'll type your answers in, and then we'll figure out how you guys do. So let's get into this. So, yeah, the quiz is called how you would survive a zombie apocalypse. So the first question is describe yourself using 2 words. So, Jamie, you want to go first on this one? Describe yourself with 2 words.
Oh, oh wow. This is kind of cool.
It's super vague. Every one of these questions is like definitely, wide open. So,
Um, okay, I'm going to try to use the most like positive words that I can find about myself. So
okay.
I'll say athletic. How
Okay.
about that? And resourceful.
Wow. Okay. That does seem like those would be good words for something like this. Um, okay, just a sec. Okay. Athletic and resourceful. Okay. And Scott, what 2 words are you choosing, Scott?
Well, strikingly handsome came to mind first off.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't help me with zombies, then probably wild and adventurous.
Okay.
How's that?
That's good. I
Are
mean,
you making a Tinder profile for us here, George?
yeah. That's right. Okay, wild and adventurous for Scott. Jamie is athletic and resourceful. Perfect. Okay. Next question. Who is your favorite actor of all time? So, Scott, maybe we'll start with you on this one. Who's your favorite actor of all time?
Oh, it's a toss up between Clint Eastwood and Russell Crowe.
Mm, both good
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
I need one though.
Oh, geez. Okay, let's go Clint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood. Okay, perfect. And Jamie, what are you thinking? Favorite actor of all time?
Uh, I'm thinking about like all of the different movies. Like you know who's been in a lot of zombie movies,
Oh boy. Yeah.
I think Tom Cruise would be a good one. I don't know if he's like the best actor. He's been in a lot of like really cool movies though. So I'm gonna say Tom Cruise.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Mission
sounds good.
Impossible,
Yeah.
End of Days, or
Right.
Day After Tomorrow was a good one.
Yeah.
Um,
Collateral.
yeah, Collateral, great one. Yeah.
That's a great one.
Oh,
Okay.
it makes me almost want to change my. There's so many good ones out there. Tom Cruise, that's it. Final answer.
Okay, Tom Cruise, sure. Okay, question number 3. Jamie, I guess we'll start with you on this one. What is something cool that you're really good at slash trained in? So something cool you're really good at, trained in.
Something really cool.
Jamie just got some sales awards in the past week here, so I mean you're good at sales.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so
I don't, don't,
that is
don't.
true. That's a good. I'm trained in relationships.
You're really good at and trained in is relationships.
Well, I'm good at. I'm good at. Yeah, well, I'm maybe not developing relationships. I
This
don't
is
know.
a
Just
Tinder
keeping them going.
profile. This
Yeah, it
is a
is.
Tinder profile.
I think he's doing it for himself. You know,
Right.
he's got the two most studly guys he knows
That's
Yeah,
getting
right.
the best answers.
that's it.
Something that good that I'm trained in. I don't know. My mind always goes back to sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at running.
And you've trained in running.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, running seems like it would be pretty applicable for something like this. So
Hmm.
sure. It feels like cheating, but I'll put running on as the answer.
The girls will love that, George.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Scott. Something cool that you're really good at slash trained in.
Um, yeah, I was a wilderness survival instructor for many years
Yeah.
and still practice bushcraft almost on the daily. So we could do survival or wilderness survival.
Okay. Yeah, it
That's a
seems
good
like
one.
yeah, that'll
That's
be
like when you're on Family Feud. That's like an answer that's 50 plus. You
right.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Steve Harvey likes that one.
I'm rarely on Family Feud.
Okay, I think this is question 4 now, right? Yeah. So this is okay, Scott. What are 2 things that you can't stand? Tough question. Pretty open-ended. What are 2 things you can't stand?
Slow drivers,
Slow drivers?
slow drivers in the fast lane.
Okay.
Um, what else can I not stand?
2 things you can't. I had trouble with this one too.
Liars. I don't like
Liars,
liars, and I don't like slow drivers in the
liars,
fast lane.
and slow drivers. Okay.
Mm.
Perfect. Jamie, 2 things you can't stand?
I think the first one, I think negativity in general. I think I don't really like too much.
Yeah.
That's a pretty negative comment. I hate negative. It's kind of a paradox,
You're really
but
negative about negative people.
Yeah.
yeah. um, yeah, negativity and oh, I just had it.
Two
Bad
things.
toilet paper.
Bad toilet paper.
Yeah,
Okay. Nice.
like I
That
when
is a
you
bad one. Yeah.
yeah when you go into like a business, like say a nice restaurant or something,
Yeah.
and you go into the washroom and use the washroom, beautiful restroom and everything. One ply toilet paper. Yeah, that's
Mm.
immediately 2-star review.
Yeah.
I agree with that too. I know people take that for granted, but it is something that's like, hey man, like go the extra mile, go the extra plio.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess Jamie, you start with this one. What's a TV show you've watched every episode of?
Ozark. That was the most
Ozark.
recent one. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they on season 2 right now?
No, they're done. They have 4 seasons.
Oh man. Oh geez. I saw season 1. I really liked it. I didn't know it was up to 4 already. I gotta
Yeah, it's been done for a while, for a few years, I think.
Ozark. Yeah, cool movie or cool show.
Hmm.
Okay, Scott, what's a TV show you watched every episode of?
Oh, there's a couple. I guess I got to pick one. Sopranos, Hell on Wheels, Peaky Blinders. All
Mm.
three were great.
Yeah.
Um, but you need one. You
Yep.
need one for AI.
Yeah.
This is all going through AI.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's go. What's most badass from those? Might be Hell on Wheels.
Yeah. I
They're all
remember
pretty. They're all pretty
watching.
tough.
Yeah.
They could kick butt on zombies. I think any of those
Oh
guys.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Let's no. Let's go Sopranos
Okay.
because it might be in my mind my favorite TV show of all time.
It's
So
a classic, definitely. Like that's in the Hall of Fame.
it is, and what they did so well, which has no brownie points for zombies, is they blended sort of hardcore mafia life with sort of the comedy of home life. I thought was really clever. Really good writers, and zombies love good writers.
Right. Exactly.
They love big brains, so
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
there's
right.
something
That's
to it.
it. Okay, Scott, let's start with this one. Where would your dream home be located?
Hinton, Alberta,
Hinton.
Fairfax Drive.
Oh.
Um, oh geez. No, you know what? I'm really happy here. The only thing summers could be a bit longer,
Yeah.
and I'd love to be by the ocean again. I do miss the ocean, but the Rockies. Yeah, I'm a Rockies guy. It's hard to get away from mountains for me.
Let's say
Yeah,
Rocky Mountains then.
yeah, Rocky Mountains. Can we put that in for a
Yeah, I
place,
think
or
so.
do you need more specific?
No, I think that's fine. Where would your dream home be located? Rocky Mountains? That seems like
There
that
we
should be
go.
a good,
Yeah.
safe answer. Okay, Jamie, dream home, where are you located?
So there's a bit of a story to this one.
Yeah.
Like when I was actually about the time when I first met you, George, I was walking through West Edmonton Mall. I
Yeah.
walked into an art gallery, and there's a picture on the wall, and it was by this artist named Sam Park. And what he did, he paints pictures of Italy and like the coastal area of Italy.
Okay. Yeah.
And there was this one picture. It was called Portofino, and I just fell in love with the colors of it. And ever since I saw it, I was like, I have to visit that place before I die. So I've never actually been there, and I've just seen it in pictures and stuff. But if I had to choose a place to live, I think
Yeah.
just based on my idea of it, I think that would be the place.
Uh,
Portofino, Italy.
Port Afino?
Portofino. So here, Porto,
Yeah.
Portofino.
Port O Fino?
No, I think it's Portofino. No, and never mind. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It's Porto. So Porto Fino.
Oh, I see.
F-I-N-O.
Okay. Got her.
Yeah.
One word. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Portofino, dream home located in Portofino. Okay, cool. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about Portofino before.
Hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I'm pretty sure I tell you at least once a year about Portofino.
Yeah. I mean, you're always blabbing. I'm just trying to like tune it out a little bit.
Exactly.
Portofino,
I actually
Portofino.
have a reminder on my phone. It's Portofino Day.
Yeah. Portofino. It sounds nice. Yeah. Coast of Italy. I mean, that seems like that would be a nice spot to
Put
settle
it on the
down.
bucket list, man.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
good. I bet they have good wine. Just sounds like a place with good
Yeah.
wine.
definitely,
Jamie,
definitely.
Jamie, we were talking about a spot we could go. Like we were coming up in a couple years. We'll be celebrating our Jamie's like what a week. You turn 40 a week before I do in a couple years.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
We were trying to figure out what we do on the 40th birthday. Maybe we go to Portofino.
Oh my God.
That'd be fun.
I would, that would be the greatest trip ever.
Yeah.
I just looked up a flight return,
Yeah.
$2,000 return flight.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
You need a zombie
find
slayer along with you, so
Right.
Like,
bring me
you gotta
bring
be
me
there,
with
Scott.
just in
Yeah.
case.
Okay, we got okay, so two more questions here. Jamie, let's start with you on this one, I think, right? Yeah. What's the best meal you can cook?
I make a mean tuna melt.
Tuna melt.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty good at tuna melts.
Huh. Okay. Perfect. My mouth is watering. Okay, Scott, what's the best meal you can cook?
Oh man, I could make some deer steaks or elk steaks that would make you drool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deer steak. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, and finally, the last question here. What's a random everyday object you can use as a weapon? Scott, we'll start with you on that one.
Well, I guess how random are we talking? Like baseball bats are underappreciated for how powerful they are.
Yeah.
So is that every day?
I don't know. When's the
Uh,
last time you picked up a baseball bat?
I don't know. I've got one downstairs. I usually keep something by my bed. A baseball bat, a throwing stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, a baseball. Most households have a baseball bat. Like that's a pretty dandy.
Yeah.
Shovels can be pretty dandy too. Um, yeah, let's go baseball bat.
Baseball bat. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
that definitely is a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got one by my bed too. Baseball bat.
Me too, actually. The one from your wedding. The wedding
Oh
party.
yeah, for my bachelor party, I got the
Yeah.
groomsmen all baseball bats with their names engraved on it.
To put by their beds.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Jamie, what's a random everyday object you can use as a weapon?
So I'm gonna go more on the everyday part of this thing, where like it's something I grab every day. It's
Right.
my tumbler. It's my drink tumbler for my coffee. I think this could be a good weapon for sure. It's stainless steel.
Yeah.
It's got a magnet on it, like a super magnet,
Mm.
and this rubber grip here. So really easy to bash some heads with it for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
All right. I like it.
my
Drink tumbler. Okay. Okay. So I click on this now and AI is generating. I'll say it says Buzzy is thinking, please hold. Okay. Perfect. So we'll find out now. I don't know if it's going to tell how long you will survive, but okay, here we go. Reveal your results. Let's see. Jamie, let's start with you. Oh, it gives you your full survival story.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Cool.
Jeez. It's like an hour-long story.
Yeah, it's three paragraphs here, but it looks interesting. So, for Jamie, your survival percentage would be 75%.
Oh, that's
Wow.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Great.
Given your
Yeah.
athleticism and
3 out of 4 ain't bad.
yeah. Given your athleticism and resourcefulness, along with the advantages of having Tom Cruise by your side, let's assume his survival skills are on par with his movie roles. You
got
have
a
a
license.
solid chance of making it through the zombie apocalypse. Your skill in running will allow you to escape dangers, and your dislike for negativity suggests you maintain a positive attitude, essential for morale in a survival situation. That's a good point. Best use of your surroundings in Portofino. Portofino offers natural barriers and elevated terrain, which are advantageous for defense and escape. The hillside surrounding the town can provide lookout points to spot approaching threat. Wow, man, you picked a good spot, Jamie. Holy.
Way to go.
Yeah. While the narrow
Oh,
alleyways can help you ambush zombies or avoid them altogether. Utilizing the local flora, you can find edible plants and herbs to complement your meals. The nearby coastline can provide seafood, and the quaint homes can be raided for supplies while staying stealthy. And then, as far as meal prep goes, while tuna melt is not a gourmet meal, it's a great comfort food that could both provide nourishment and morale boost. If you can gather proper ingredients like bread, tuna, and cheese, you could make this meal using improvised cooking methods like a makeshift grill or fire. So
apocalypse. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
that's interesting. Yeah. Um, and then at the end, it just says using a drink tumbler as a weapon is an option too. So they're not. Doesn't seem like the
Yeah,
drink.
it's a good option.
Yeah.
This is the
Uh,
most positive AI you've tapped into here, George.
yeah. Wow.
It's a feel good story. Yeah.
Scott. Okay, so Scott. Okay, here we go. Your survival percentage would be 78%. So
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Hmm.
a little bit higher than Jamie's there. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, wow. Okay. So it's saying here, given your wild, adventurous spirit and wilderness survival training, you have a strong foundation for thriving in a zombie apocalypse. Your dislike for slow drivers and liars suggests that you value efficiency and honesty, traits crucial in a survival scenario where trust within your group is key.
Hmm.
In the Rocky Mountains, you'll find plenty of resources to help you survive. The terrain provides natural barriers against zombie hordes, and its abundant wildlife can supply food. You could hunt deer using your skills to prepare deer steak, which would be a great source of protein. Additionally, you could forage for edible plants, berries, and roots to supplement your diet. There you go, Scott. You can use your foraging skills too.
And mushrooms.
And mushrooms, yes. As for your baseball bat, it would be an excellent close quarters weapon. Here's how to make the most of it against zombies. You can use that as a melee advantage. Aim for the head with your bat. Zombies, according to classic lore, are often most effectively incapacitated with damage to their brain. Swing with force and precision to take them down quickly. And then you can also use it as an improvised shield when not in active combat. Hold the bat in front of you to block or deflect slow moving zombies, giving you a moment to reposition or escape. So, well, there you go.
Awesome. We all knew
Interesting.
Scott was going to win this one.
Well,
He's
you know what? We just need to team up, man. We'll be
yeah,
unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true.
I'll
Well,
come over to
although
Nelson. It's a little warmer on that side of the mountains there, Jamie.
yeah, well, you're always welcome.
Wow. I mean, that is like so that's the thing when you're watching like these zombie movies and these zombie stories is like, okay, you have the survivalism skills, but what do you do? Do you go and do you live in the bush on your own, or do you join a group? And you like have
Yeah.
different skills and different talents, and so you can have some help. Like, what are you guys doing in that scenario?
It's a
You
tough one,
mean
right? Because yeah, going solo, you're going to be less detection. You could
Hmm.
probably hide out there as long as you've got your supplies and food. You're good indefinitely. But life alone gets pretty dull.
Hmm.
Solitary confinement's a form of torture. You're just going to get really lonely. So I think you want a small, strong team. You got to take care of your family, or else you're just a jerk. So your family's coming. And then you've got to find some other strong team members who know how to use firearms and got your back in times of trouble.
Hmm.
Keep it small, keep it tight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean that's the advice that they give on Wikipedia here too.
oh
What's your
really?
what's your move, Jamie?
Huh. So I was reading a book by Malcolm Gladwell, and you were reading it too. I think it's Blinkist. I think. But it was
Blank.
about
Yeah.
Blink. Uh, yeah, I think it's Blink. But it was about how uh, organizations function the best with a certain amount of people, and that
Hmm.
that amount of people was, I believe, 50, if I
Wow.
remember correctly. And yeah, so it would be around. It was either 50 or 200. I'm forgetting, but uh, whatever that number is, that's what I want. That to have to be under that number and have like a community with somebody who could, farm or do agriculture, somebody who knew engineering and civil infrastructure and that kind of thing. And just a combination of really smart people, I think would be the best. But I mean, if you get in that position, you don't really have those options all the time. But if if I could like pick and choose who I was gonna have in my on my team, that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
and that's a good point there, Jamie. I was thinking earlier when we talk about surviving a zombie apocalypse. I mean, first of all, it's fantasy, but secondly, are we talking like short term, like 6 weeks, 6 months, or are we talking 6 years, 20 years? Like what are, and I don't know enough about zombies. Like, do these things ever croak or
yeah.
do they just keep going and going? What makes them disappear or destroy without being beheaded?
Well, I
Like, can
mean,
you outlast them?
yeah, you can outlast them. According to scientific estimations, a zombie apocalypse would likely see complete eradication of humanity within a year. And some studies say that it's about 100 days for the human population to be wiped out entirely. But surviving humans could potentially eliminate all zombies within a couple years. So they say, like, if you kind of need to be able to survive 2 years, sort of thing.
So if you stuck a zombie in a cage
Hmm.
in a zoo,
Yeah.
that thing would live, well, living dead, whatever it is,
Yeah.
for 2 years. You just have to outlast it 2 years. Is that what we're saying?
I mean, that's the tough part. It's like, I don't know.
Because we could do that.
Yeah, well,
But if they all have to be beheaded and there's how many billions of people on the planet, that's going to be really tough.
yeah. Yeah, I know that's the tough part for sure. So,
Doesn't
the,
matter how much ammo you stockpiled, you don't have enough, right?
right. So, I mean, a lot of people, when it comes to like, there's like full, like, I mean, of course, Reddit subreddits on zombies and what's the best way to do and how long would the zombie apocalypse last and sort of thing. I mean, the best advice and the best thing that people are saying is like, you got to go find an island somewhere and then just live on the island and then, build a civilization from that way and then just let the zombies kind of die off would be, I mean, I guess the dream. But if
Yeah,
you're,
yeah. So on that note, another question I had for you guys, you zombie experts.
Mhm.
Um, Zombies can still freeze, I imagine, because they are meat. So extreme
Yeah.
cold, it doesn't matter, how tough you are. If it's super cold, you're gonna freeze solid. So I think snow, you head out -30
Hmm.
into the Rockies. I don't think zombies are getting very far. They're not well clothed. They're gonna freeze solid. Maybe they'll thaw out, but might take till spring. That was one thought. The other, how well can they swim? So you
Mm.
said an island, but even like a raging river, if you went to the Athabasca Falls and had this raging cold
Hmm.
mountain river between you and the zombies, I don't think they're making it across. At least not very many, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. In the book I'm reading right now, it's World War Z. They talk about frozen zombies, and they do unthaw. So like they'll freeze, but then they'll unthaw and then attack you. But they aren't swimming though. That's the other thing. So yeah, you could be right. Like you get on the other side of a big raging river, you're safe potentially from them. It's I mean it's a tough one. So they say that according to like most survival scenarios, the best skill to have in a zombie apocalypse is first aid. So then you can treat injuries, stay healthy, because medical care not going to be available for the most part. Other skills you're going to need. So like let's say you're building a team, like Jamie mentioned, if you got a team of 50 people or around, I can't remember either, Jamie. I feel like his 50 was the number though, but that
I
was
think 50, I think it's 50. Yeah.
yeah, it's been a little bit since I read that book. Combat skills. So you want to have someone or, possibly yourself having combat skills, survival skills, building shelters, finding food, water sources, starting fires. Stealth. You're going to need to be stealthy, resourcefulness, and decision making. And a lot of it comes down to just being like flexible. Like, you can build this sweet zombie fortress, but then a couple zombies come in and they take over, then you got to be able to adapt and move out. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and I could see the 50 people, long-term survival, you're going to need to repopulate the earth. So yeah,
that's the fun
if you're
part.
looking real long-term,
Yeah.
there you go, Jamie. That, that's a good plan.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
But number one, I'd want to get out of the city. Like I already live in a small town next to the mountains, so I'm in a good location. But man, if I was downtown Manhattan or something like that, that would be the absolute worst. Like
Oh
get
yeah.
Hmm.
out of there. You're just trapped because I mean, are zombies actively hunting people down? I guess they smell them,
Oh yeah.
they're looking for them.
Yeah.
But if you're just a small group way out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, like, do they even know you exist?
Well,
Are they roaming the hills?
yeah, you fire one gun at that deer, you could, the zombie horde could be showing up. And once one shows up, then uh, I mean, there's different scenarios of how these zombies react, but they have like a moaning sound and they hear like another zombie moan, they're like going to that sound. So like that's the other
Yeah,
issue you run into. So
yeah. You want a silencer for your gun, or you want to go bow and arrow, right? Bring your compound bow or your
yeah,
favorite traditional bow. The other thing I was thinking of, they say in a city the best place would be a prison,
yeah.
or if you're in Europe, get an old castle. But in the Rockies, or where you live there, Jamie, too, cliff, a good cliff. And if you had climbing gear, I don't like imagine you've got to climb. It's a 5'9", 5'10", pretty extreme. Some zombies are going to make it up, but they're coming up one at a time. You've got your
Hmm.
gear you can pull up into your cave and hopefully peg them off one at a time, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And if they fall, they're cracking their heads, so they're done.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are both thinking like as far as zombies go, like you're thinking like the kind of slow, kind of gradually getting towards you. But I'm thinking more the I Am Legend zombies, the ones that are like they
Rushing.
have huge muscles and
Mm.
they can climb those types of things even better than
Wow.
we could climb it, right?
Oh wow. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So I don't know, like maybe you got some like zombies like you guys are thinking. Maybe you guys got some zombies like in different parts of the world, but yeah, I think you got to be prepared for anything.
Mm. That's a good point. I can't, in I Am Legend, is like, do those zombies swim? Is there water involved in that one? I can't remember that movie very much. That was Will Smith, right?
Yeah. I don't think there was there was pictures of water because they're on the coast, but I don't think there was images or pictures of them swimming. So I'm not sure. I think they're scared of water.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so what are you guys taking for zombie protection? Like what's your combat plan? With what you have in the house, you can't take
Hmm.
a
I got a
Black
shotgun.
Hawk or a jet fighter or tank or anything like that. What you have currently in the house, zombies are coming. What's your combat plan?
Yeah,
I got a shotgun. So it's
Yeah.
a break action. So I, I get I get that one out and just a
how,
12 gauge, right?
how many bullets you got?
Yeah, how much ammo?
I've got 3 boxes of shells. So
Okay.
um
So
so not bad.
Yeah,
you're
100.
taking out 60 zombies or so, and then you're
Yeah.
done.
Hmm.
Exactly. I'm hooped. Well, I
Base.
think 60 shells is a lot of ammo, enough ammo where you can find another gun. I think somewhere.
Mm. Yeah, so
Mm.
that's the other thing. So then are you going and raiding other houses then? Is that your move then, Jamie? Like you got a can of tuna, that's not going to you're not lasting very
Jamie
long.
Jamie becomes the looter that we're all
Yeah.
worried about,
Hmm.
Yeah, the looter and the liar. The
and the
oh
cannibal.
yeah.
Yeah.
What
What?
about you, George?
Mm.
What
I
do you
mean,
got?
I got the shotgun too. I got the 20. I mean, I got a few different guns. Um, like the best, at least according to the research I know I've been really down a zombie hole here this week, but the best weapon that they're saying you should have is like a multi-use weapon. So like maybe like a fire axe or like
Ooh.
crowbar is like a good one. You know, you can use that to break into some stuff, but then it's also good for bashing. Um, yeah, I mean, I got a few axes that would be good. So I think I'd have like maybe like a shotgun on the back, holding on to an axe. Um, yeah, maybe like I got a baseball bat. Yeah, I mean, I got a few
Right,
weapons that could be handy for sure. It's just like how much carrying space do I have just for weapons, I guess.
right, right, right. You put that as your profile picture for your dating profile.
Yeah, yeah,
We're back to the Tinder post.
right.
Um, yeah, no, I think you need three things, right? You need long range, mid
Hmm.
range, and short range, right?
Yeah,
In any combat. So your long range would be your high powered rifle with the scope. So you're sitting on your cliff, you're pegging these things off at 200, 300 yards, hopefully,
yeah,
if they're the slow moving ones,
yeah.
not Jamie's sprinting zombies.
Those are scary
Uh,
zombies.
yeah, those are the scary ones. They're not in my world.
No.
But they can
Um,
only come out at night. So that's the thing too. That's another thing.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you could have a flamethrower, that would be great. Maybe you could
Mm.
fashion something mid-range. To me, shotgun's kind of mid-range, but maybe some would see it as long range. Shotgun with buckshot.
Hmm.
Now we're talking power, but
Oh
you're
yeah.
still only reaching out to what 40 yards effectively, 50 maybe. Um, and you know, in medieval warfare, the spear was kind of a good thing to kind of push things off, and it might not kill a zombie, but it's going to slow them down. And then you need that short range weapon, and it could be a machete, a sword, some
Tumblr.
your baseball bat with a spike in it, your tumbler,
Yeah.
lots of tumblers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think you need that sort of thing, but the sound is a big thing. And I heard some people say the zombies can smell you too, right?
Mm.
Mm.
So they talk about scent detection where you can have this spray that smells like rotten flesh, put it on you so that you don't smell like a living human, but that'd be a bad way to live. Grade nine
Uh,
locker room.
Yeah. I mean, I just Scott, you brought up like how long would the zombies live for? Like if they just, and, you know, like the most of the research I've done is like 2 years, they're done. But in the latest article I just popped up here, it's saying like a generation generally held to be like 20 to 30 years long. Um,
Wow.
they're suggesting that hordes of undead can continue to kick around for 60 years or more until they finally rotted away. So
Holy.
yeah, that's a long time.
I love how like none of this is fact. This is
This is a Google question right now is like, will the zombie apocalypse happen in 2025? So the answer is chances are that a zombie apocalypse is low on the list of possible concerns that we need to give our attention to. You know, it's not inevitable, that's for sure. Um, you know, I don't think we have to worry about too many zombie apocalypses happening here, but it is something to think about. Maybe like just even just stepping back from the zombie, but just you know things can happen. Like even like a forest fire coming through, like it changes things real quick. So like just having you know, like I was talking to my wife about this week is like we've got a little bit of an emergency kit set up, but it's definitely something we should take a look at. And like, hey, like in the summer, we have our holiday trailer kind of packed up and we leave a lot of our stuff in there. Like, okay, we know we're going to have a stockpile of water in there and some food and some stuff in there. So it's like, if something happened and we needed to get out of town real quick, we just hook onto the holiday trailer and we're loaded. We got our sleeping bags, you know, you got lots of stuff. It's a little propane and you got flashlights and, you know, that's like ready to go in the winter, a little bit different. But I think if you're listening to this, don't worry about the zombie apocalypse. That's not going to happen. But be prepared for, you know, just you never know. Like something, anything can happen very quickly. And COVID was a big thing. And the research I was doing today is like, hey, that whole the Russia Ukraine thing is a big thing. It's like it got people really thinking, like, hey, man, like that really got I know the prepper word sometimes has like a bad connotation, but it got like the preppers going. It's like, hey, there's different government out there could take over, something could happen, there's terrorism, all kinds of stuff. And like, hey, don't worry about it all the time, but have a backup plan is like not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
absolutely. I would agree with that. Yeah, prepper to me has a negative stigma, kind of somebody with a tinfoil hat worried about conspiracies left, right, and center. But I think we should all be prepared. And when I was teaching survival programs, I would always ask people in the group why they were there. And many of them saw it as an insurance policy in case
Mm.
something happened. Again, it could be wildfire, ice storm, earthquake on the BC coast, tornadoes. Like they just wanted to be able to know that they could walk out the door and survive at least for, a couple weeks with just what they had for knowledge. And I think that's absolutely reasonable. I think we should have some degree of food storage just in case. I mean, these things aren't super hypothetical, especially in Canada. There have been times when power's gone out for whatever reason. And if you're in the middle of winter, things can turn serious pretty quick if you don't have natural gas or electricity to keep you warm.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm a bit older than you guys, but my dad survived World War II. My grandfather fought on the front lines in World War One and World War Two, and I grew up in the Cold War era in Europe. So it was well known that the Soviet Union was planning to overtake the rest of Europe, which is why there were NATO bases all over the place. And so that's recent history. And we live in these peace times and we get kind of complacent thinking, forgetting that our ancestors, our forefathers, almost all of them knew war. It
Hmm.
was it was just part of our history. If you go back in your family lineage, I would venture to say the vast majority of your forefathers faced some sort of war, either personally or the threat of war. So the fact that we kind of live in these peaceful times, at least in Canada and the States, have made us kind of complacent. But things could always change. There's still a lot of nuclear warheads out there, and that's a terrifying prospect, right?
And those things happen quick too, where you don't get, you got 2 weeks to do something. It's like this happened now. You gotta adapt to it. So yeah. Scott, I think brought up a good point too at the beginning of the podcast where it's like maybe it's not even having all of the, you know, uh, 40 pounds of rice and 1,800 bottles of water, but like knowing how to start a fire and forage and hunt and survive for yourself in the bush because the bush is, that might be your resort. You're not going to have your freezer could come unplugged and there's no power and you're going to lose all your meat and like, hey, you got to go get stuff. So to be able to do that is pretty helpful too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you guys have a bug out spot? Have you ever thought about if if things hit the fan and you had to leave now, where you would go?
No, not really. I don't know. The first thought that comes to my mind is like my parents' place because they have an acreage.
Your
Uh,
mom's gonna cook you
yeah,
meals,
mom's gonna
take
cook me a
care of you.
meal, be able to watch the hockey game with dad. Like, yeah, it's I don't know. What do you got a spot in mind?
I
Did,
don't know. I was thinking about that today. I've got a few spots where I like to random camp. They're by
hmm.
water. I can hunt, fish potentially. So yeah, but I haven't really planned it out. Like there's people again, the preppers are burying barrels,
Yeah,
stockpiling stuff in the ground. They've got guns and food and salt and ammo and Bibles and
yeah.
whatever you're putting in your barrel, right? Got the school bus buried somewhere in the bush. I'm certainly not in that camp, but I think it's good to have sort of a plan B.
Yeah.
If something bad were to happen, where would you go, right?
How about you, Jamie?
Um, I think we've all had those thoughts that have gone through our head where like, oh, you know, what if nuclear war happened? But I've never pinned down a spot like, oh, say a nuke drops in Vancouver or something like that. I've never pinned down a spot where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is where I'm going. Um, my first instinct is to get as far away from it as possible,
Hmm.
and that's I. So I'd probably go back to Edmonton or somewhere that had like a good community of people with a lot of resources there. That would
Mm.
be that would be the first place I'd go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because like when you think about it, it's like, okay, we'll go north because that's like you're away from population, but then you got to worry about weather and stuff a little bit more too. So, yeah, I don't know. It's something I don't want to spend my life like. I don't want to be a prepper. Like, oh, I gotta, I'm ready for because then it always feels like, oh, you're always ready for something negative to happen, which is like not a great world to dwell in. So,
Well, and the other thing about the zombie idea and a bug out spot, like really right now we've had minus 35 quite a few nights here. It's been pretty cold last few weeks. And I don't know if you guys have done long-term survival in that, but that's more deadly than zombies. Like cold and starvation might take you out long before the zombies find you out there. So,
yeah.
there's that balance, right? Um, yeah. Yeah, I think Nelson and Castlegar, you guys are a bit warmer than we are.
Yeah.
We're coming your way, Jamie.
Yeah.
Come on down. There's a lot of good spots down here for sure. Hey, the fishing's awesome in the Columbia.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have way better edible plants and mushrooms there too. So yeah,
You
we
know, one
might make
thing.
our way that
Yeah,
way.
I
Yeah.
like that. One thing we didn't mention though is like maybe, like it just, hear me out on this one. Maybe it's just better to be a zombie. Like, I mean, you're just running and you're just chasing things,
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
Right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like
Just
no
get it
cares
over
in the
with, right?
world. Yeah, like, hey,
Ignorance is bliss.
yeah, you freeze and then you unthaw and you just keep running and you see some guy on top of the hill, like, oh, let's go chase this guy and chew him up a little bit. It might not be a bad plan either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. How bad is it really, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they all
know.
seem to
It's
be
a
having a
crazy
good
thought,
time.
especially when you said you just have to last them 2 years, I was like, okay, maybe, but then 60 years? Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not outlasting them 60 years.
Yeah, there's a couple theories where like 2 years they'd kind of wear themselves out, and then the survivors would be able to pick off the remaining ones. But then there's 60 is like, as you mentioned, there's 6 billion or 8 billion people or whatever on Earth. Like that's a lot of potential zombies that could be around every corner. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They'd have to nuke them pretty hard to get those numbers down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had some zombie would you rathers. Did you too, George?
Oh, I didn't have a zombie. Would you rather? Let's
Ah,
do it though. I want to hear it.
okay. I
Yeah,
got two. I got two of them.
perfect. Yeah.
All right. Would you rather face an attack by a zombie or a grizzly bear attack? Like they're attacking. Both are
Mm.
attacking full on. But I think we have to specify, is this the lumbering walking zombie or Jamie's like raging
Mm.
testosterone amped charging zombies? Like what are we talking here?
I feel like if it's a lumbering one, I'm going to take the lumbering one for sure. If
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let's go with the raging speedy zombie
Okay.
versus a
Grizzly.
full-size grizzly. He's
Mm.
coming at you 40 feet a second, 800 pounds of muscle and claws.
Yeah. Jamie, you go
Like
first
Where
on
are
this one.
you? Are you in like an open area or
you're in the forest and you've got a hunting knife. There you go.
Mm.
okay. All right. And how far is he from you?
He's 100 yards coming in
100 yards.
fast.
Okay. Whew. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with the zombie. Like even he might be as tough as a grizzly, but he doesn't have the claws like a grizzly.
Mm.
Or um but then the grizzly doesn't have like the opposable thumbs either, so it might be
Hmm.
yeah, that's a tricky one. But I'm gonna say zombie. I'll go
Zombie.
zombie. Yeah.
I'm gonna go grizzly. Yeah, I'm gonna go grizzly. I feel like the zombie I could maybe take down, but if he bites me, then I'm done. Like I'm just, whereas if a grizzly bites me, it's like, okay, maybe, I'll lose an arm or something, but I might be okay. But if a zombie bites me, then I turn into a zombie. Yeah, I'm gonna go grizzly. I think I could battle off a grizzly.
Hmm.
Mm.
What are you thinking, Scott?
It's a tricky one. If it was a slow walking zombie, then definitely the zombie. One of those rushing zombies. It's like you said, I'm more worried about being splattered, right? If you get it in the mouth, nose, or eyes, you get infected, even if
Oh,
it's not a bite.
Hmm.
That fluid transfer, open wound. But I got to take the zombie because a grizzly is just so friggin' big and strong. Like
Yeah.
you're just a rag doll with a grizzly. Like at least body mass wise,
Hmm.
probably take a zombie, but it's more can he bite me? Maybe it's a little girl zombie. You never know what's charging
Mm.
at you, right?
Right,
They didn't
exactly.
specify.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay. Number two, would you rather fight a zombie with a baseball bat
Mm.
or a spear?
Spear, 100%,
100%?
100%.
Now, but to
Why?
kill it, okay, you go ahead. Yeah, give me your reasoning.
Well, I mean, how heavy is the spear? I guess that's a thing, right?
You,
If
you've
it's
got
just like,
a you've got like a 7 foot long spear with a nice sharp iron tip on the front, like a
mhm.
good javelin style, Roman style spear.
Yeah, I, so it's longer than a baseball bat for one, so he's not going to be able to get close to you. Um, the pointed end on it, that's going to cause some damage from far away. Even if you swing it to the side, or if you plunge it right to him like a spear normally would, like you'd think a spear would. Um, I just like the keeping the distance between you and the zombie.
Yeah.
If the zombie gets close enough for you to hit it with a baseball bat, that's too close. That's when
Mm.
we're talking about the splash damage from the blood and stuff, right? That's
Yeah. How about you, George?
Yeah, that's a good I mean that's a good point. I used to work I used to be an electrician and so commercial electrician. So we bend this conduit. So there's like a 1 inch bender, there's a 3/4 inch bender, there's a 1/2 inch bender. These benders are all like big steel bars that have little hooks on the end. So I was like, oh, the 3/4 inch bender is my best weapon if I got into a fight at the construction site. Which leads me to this point is like the 1 inch is just a little bit too big and bulky and hard to maneuver. Whereas I feel like the baseball bat or a 3/4 inch bender, similar size, I would have a little more like versatility. I could do a little more swinging and bashing. Whereas the spear, I feel like I'd be like, you know, tripping over it and stuff. So I think I'd go baseball bat.
Hmm. Interesting.
I might even put like a couple nails through that baseball bat if that's allowed to.
Oh, it's not allowed. You're in the
Mm,
bush, man.
okay.
Yeah. Good thinking though.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think I'm going spear too. I mean, the baseball bat's probably more effective for actually killing the damn thing, but the spear, similar to what Jamie was saying, is you get to hold it off, right? And they've done all these hand-to-hand combat tests now with guys with swords and spears all body armored up, and they found the spear is super effective and underappreciated. Like spear almost always takes sword, just because you have that distance.
Mm.
Uh, but to kill a zombie, you have to behead it or smash the skull, right? So
Hmm.
could be a lot of shiving involved.
Hmm.
Hopefully, this is an adult audience tonight. Kids, if you're still listening, go to bed.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you got to sever the throat from the head, the neck from the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going spear.
Spear. Yeah, I mean, I do see what you guys are saying. Yeah, I'm going against you guys. I'm still going baseball bat. I think I could. I think it'd be funner too, the baseball bat. Like it just,
yeah,
just like a day out of the ballpark.
right.
Yeah,
It'd be fun until it wasn't.
yeah, exactly. I wanted to dig into too. Like I don't think we got this episode, but um, like I just kind of mentioned it quickly. Like zombie movies. There's so many zombie movies out
Oh
there, and
yeah.
man, there's just hundreds, and there's some really good ones. Do you guys have a favorite zombie movie? I was trying to like go through some of the ones I've seen. Like always remember the one that sticks in my mind is that it's just 28 days or 20 days later, whatever. Where like the guy wakes up in the hospital room and then it's just like, hey, where is everybody at and stuff. It's just kind of
That was a cool one for
yeah.
sure.
Hmm.
Hmm
Yeah, no, I didn't really watch a lot of zombie movies. I guess to some degree, Game of Thrones with the Army of the Dead or whatever they're called
Oh
is
yeah,
kind of a take on zombies,
yeah,
right? Um, so yeah, I did
yeah.
watch
That's
that,
true.
but
Jamie, you got a favorite zombie movie?
I'd say I brought it up. I Am Legend.
I Am
I
Legend.
love that movie. That movie's sweet. Not only because the zombie action is pretty cool, but he's actually working to find a solution to
Yeah,
to cure the zombies, and he has to set up a fortress, and I don't know. It's just a cool movie.
yeah. Smart movie. Yeah, I
hmm,
like that too. Actually, while we're on that topic too, Scott had mentioned a podcast episode we were thinking of doing based on like wilderness movies and like debunking some wilderness stuff. Like, would we be debunking what's going on in these movies, Scott? What's your thoughts behind that episode?
I think sort of dissecting them. There were two that I thought. I mean, there's probably many we could do, but two cool categories. We could do one on bear attacks, obviously Revenant, and
Yeah, Revenant.
there are other Cocaine Bear, and yeah, there's other good ones that we could kind of dissect.
Okay.
That would be a fun one. Bear attacks and movies. The other one we could try is something like just survival skills, and whether it's Survivor, the show Alone, Naked and Afraid, or even what's the one with Tom Hanks, Castaway.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at some of those classic survival movies and seeing what they did well and what they didn't do well, and I
Yeah.
think that'd be kind of fun.
Okay. I'm gonna put
Yeah.
it out there right now. I'm not great with movies. I watch them and then the next day I've completely forgot them. Um, but if you are listening to this podcast, and even better if you're in the Northern Rockies area and would like to be a guest on the podcast and maybe has like a good movie knowledge and would want to discuss some movies, send us an email. Would love to hear from you. wildernesswave@outlook.com. And yeah, we could set something up and perhaps do an episode on that in the near future. Because I think it'd be a fun one, and I'd love to be a part of it. I'd be a terrible guest for it, but I think it'd be good. So yeah, wildernesswave@outlook.com. Okay, well, that was the zombie apocalypse episode of the Wilderness Wavelength podcast. A little different than normal, but I hope you guys gained something from it, and at least be a little prepared, be ready just in case, because you never know.
I think the general, like the overview, like the idea is to be prepared, like you're saying, right?
Yeah,
It even in real situations, in made up situations, just
yeah.
always be prepared.
Never leave the house unless you're carrying a spear, and
Yeah.
yeah, be ready. You
Have
never
your
know.
flamethrower under your
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah, exactly. I've made a list of a few purchases I'm gonna make. I don't have a generator right now. I'm gonna go buy a generator. That's like something just based on some of the prepper stuff I've been reading. It's like generators handy to have in a lot of cases. First aid kit I got under control, but I'm going to build a little more of a food um hoard storage area, I guess. Just in case we gotta move. And the other thing too is like it's not just me, it's the wife and the kid and the dog too. So you got to make sure you're got a little bit extra and ready to go. So I'm gonna build a little supply list and maybe share that with you guys too in
Yeah.
a future episode here.
I'm gonna go on
Beautiful.
eBay and see if I can buy a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? You don't have to be a prepper. I think even having lots of salt, just from a survival
Like table
standpoint,
salt.
table salt. Like
Yeah.
think of preservation that your great grandparents used before refrigeration. Everything was salted.
Hmm.
Salt pork, salt fish, salt jerky.
Mummies were
That's
salted.
Yeah, everything was salted before refrigeration and freezing.
So
And
what does that mean
so
then? You cook it and then salt it?
no, you usually dehydrate. I mean, think of smoked jerky. You could easily just build a fire, get a smoky fire going, salt your meat, and dehydrate
Mm,
it, and it's good for
okay.
months.
Yeah.
But yeah, just some of those simple things. Salt goes a long way, and your body does need it.
Yeah.
Salt and rice. I think those both could get you pretty far for quite a while.
Yeah. Sounds like a good supper tomorrow too.
Yeah,
Salt
there
and
you go.
rice. Okay. Were you gonna say something, Jamie? Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off there.
Oh no, you summed it up perfectly. I just hope you got enough for your dating profile. That's all.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, the first time AI has been featured on the podcast, me and Jamie have had a lot of AI conversations in the past, and I'm anti AI, but I am learning that maybe some of the stuff you just got to embrace it a little bit, and like, I don't want to have it like featured heavily in my life, but when it's a zombie quiz, like, yeah, it's kind of a cool answer to come up with. So, yeah.
I
We've
uh
got,
I had one question for you, George. What did you score on the zombie quiz? What was your
yeah.
percentage?
100%. Yeah, they said I was.
Yeah.
I think mine was right in the 70%. I think mine was 73. So you guys both beat me 73%. But I kind of went a little different with answers than you guys because you were like, "Oh, what's your best two things?" "Oh, I'm athleticism and I'm really good at killing things." Where I was like, "Oh, I like I know how to use a koozie and so it's
I
like
can make beer.
yeah.
Your favorite
Yeah.
actress was Mary Poppins. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. One more questions about zombies that we didn't get into, and I won't sleep tonight unless I know your answer.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about a good attack dog? Like, do dogs turn into zombies if they get bit, or they're immune? On Game of
In
Thrones, they would turn into a zombie, but in most zombies, I think, because you'd have that detection, you'd be able to sleep at night, your dog's on guard, and they definitely slow a zombie or two down, right?
I Am Legend, the dog. He's got a dog with him most of the time, doesn't he?
Yeah, turns into a zombie.
Does it?
Yeah,
Oh, it does.
yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. That's rough.
Yeah. In that book I mentioned at the beginning, the parable of the sower. Check it out if you're. I don't know. It's a weird book. It's not really zombie, but it's end of the world sort of thing. But the dogs are there. They're like attacking and eating kids and stuff. But in the end, it's like, hey, we could use a couple dogs. You get a dog as a puppy, and then they could help protect you. And like Scott mentioned, it'd be like kind of a early warning system to have in your camp and stuff too. But yeah, I feel like in most of the movies I've seen with zombies, the dog is not. You get pretty attached to the dog, and it comes back and tries to eat you. That's like not the best. Yeah.
Leave your dog at home. Bring your hamster along for company.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Wildernesswave@outlook.com. If you want to get a hold of us, send in questions for Ask Scott. Jamie, thanks for coming on. It's always good
Thanks.
chatting with you.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for having me. It's nice to meet you too, Scott.
Oh, yeah. You too, man.
Great to have your expertise on this subject.
Yeah.
Well, and I know where I'm going during the zombie apocalypse to Nelson. So
Yeah.
keep
You're
keep
welcome.
a room
Apocalypse or not,
keep a room
you're
stocked
welcome.
with yeah. Start stockpiling the beer. Yeah.
Follow along with Scott's adventures on Instagram, Northern Rockies Bushcraft. You can find him there. And yeah, until next week, stay wild.
Stay wild.
Wilderness Wavelength.